What Culture? My name is Simon Miller, and the reason I talk like this is because everybody breathe, everybody calm down. We made it through yet another 12 months of wrestling, well, brilliance or patheticness. You choose the word that best suits your brain, and we'll just take it from there. But as we are about to head into 2019, what we've got to do is we've got to take our eyes and look back over 2018 and start to give some ups and downs for the good and the bad throughout this lovely little thing known as the business. And we're going to be doing other things as well, but right now the video you tuned in for, we're going to go through NXT for this period, and the good bits are going to get up and the bad bits are going to get down. And as always, because we are talking about NXT, it's mostly going to be up. So don't worry, I found some downs. I swam through the river of death and I came out the other side smelling of some downs. What? Let's up some downs quickly before things get even weirder than they are already. I like changing things up and circumventing the expectation, which is also the name of my first mixtape, as I've told you before, and that's why we're going to start with a down, which is going to cause your jaw to just slam into the table beneath you and probably screw up your oatmeal if you happen to be eating oatmeal. Now, this is a minor criticism because never forget that NXT is meant to be the WWE's developmental brand. If you weren't pushing boundaries or chewing ideas and you were just sticking to the status quo, you'd be betraying the whole point this was set up to begin with. However, you know, I'm looking for negatives. I found one here, therefore I've got to talk about it. Because, yeah, there are a few acts that didn't light up the world as intended. The Forgotten Ones, well, their name became quite iconic because they just shifted down to the bottom of the card and not a lot of people remember them. And the same could be said for people like the Mighty. Then there's Kona Reeves. Now, Kona Reeves, he got repackaged as the Finest and unfortunately then fell from grace far quicker than anybody wanted him to. Again though, we're learning here, mistakes are actually where you get the most education, so it's good that some people do fail, but it doesn't mean that it's fun to watch. Given that this is an education, there's every chance that in 2019, and we are looking forward now, they could climb their way back up to the top. And that's what I'm hoping for. They're all talented so-and-sos as well. In fact, I don't think there's anybody in NXT that doesn't have some ounce of talent, so I keep everything crossed. On the flip side to that, however, is that a lot of the first impressions that we have got throughout the year have been absolutely wonderful. They've been absolutely lovely. They've made me feel all warm and fuzzy, much as I do when I drink a cup of tea on a Sunday morning. I don't drink tea, so I just lied to you, but yeah, loads of debuts in NXT. Getting up. Matt Riddle was handled perfectly as Cassius Ohno ran him down for weeks before he even arrived, which told us he was meant to be seen as a big deal. And while Shayna Baszler technically debuted in December 2017, that's only 1 month, I'm not counting that. So she has been a breath of fresh air for the entire 12-month period. Walked in like she was the best thing going and then proved it day in, day out, and won a lot of you people out there over too. She got ya. Ricochet feels like a bigger star than he ever has been since signing, and Io Shirai, well, she's just going to keep going from better to better to better to better until you can't say the word better without the word better sounding like it's the stupidest word ever. The highlight with this is that in the past that hasn't been the case, so the fact we've gone so far now without making a mistake is awesome. And if you need more evidence, just look at a lot of people that have turned up on Raw and SmackDown for the first time, or people that have been moved from NXT to SmackDown. Poor Andrade Cien Almas, he did everything he could. He vanished like smoke. He may as well be a ghost. Back to the downs though, because when you take a step back and look at NXT, I think it's fair to say that not all the divisions there are equal. Down. Featured title fights are always top draw, and few other promotions do as good a job as protecting their titles and NXT, and in fact that in itself can get an up. New Japan would also be in that conversation, just to give you an idea of how I see it, but beneath this main event there are a few holes. That's me prodding a hole in something. Let's look at the women's division and the tag team division. The former was mostly kept alive in 2018 thanks to everything that was going down between Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane, and that went on for months. And I think the reason it did go on for months, other than the fact it was great and we wanted to see it, was that Triple H was out there trying to add depth to this division so eventually they could segue off to have other opponents. There was an upcoming void, which thankfully people in the back noticed and went and did something about, and now we have the likes of Bianca Belair and Io Shirai. And of course Dakota Kai, and that rhymes. Also, apparently she suffered a quite serious knee injury recently, so we send all our best wishes to her. Get better soon. Their time, of course, will come in 2019, but given that this is a 2018 wrap-up, well, we could have done a lot better with that. With tag teams, it's a similar story. Outside of the Undisputed Era, the War Raiders, and Birch and Lorcan, well, you kind of run out of options. A lot of the duos just haven't established themselves, so there wasn't enough love to go around. You can put this down to the 1 hour format of the show too, but let's hope over the next annual period, some developing, and you see what I did there, occurred, and both these divisions can feel a bit more stacked than they did. And up for everybody though, because in 2018, 5-star matches, or at least according to the Wrestling Observer, returned to WWE, and have a guess where those stars landed. That's right, on NXT. Regardless what you think about Dave Meltzer's rating system, the fact that for ages, WWE hasn't been getting such reviews, and now they have, and the fact that they have is because of their so-called third brand, well, it's something you've got to take a look at. Given that this was just an idea of how many good matches we had in NXT this year, all of a sudden you start to realise how privileged we've been. I mean, you can start pulling other fights out your ass if you want to. The rating system, the 5 stars, that's somebody else's opinion. So when you include your opinion into this, there may be 20 matches where you can go, yeah, I'd give that 5 stars, and few people would argue with you. Some takeovers were so good that when we gave them the ups and downs treatment, they got no downs, because to do that would have been pedantic and would have been idiotic. Sometimes you've got to look at something and call a spade and go, that was just brilliant. When you're smashing out content like this so consistently, you're the definition of an up. Hence why I got an up. Another down as we start to chat about what is a problem for all of WWE, and that is just how big the damn roster is and how much talent they actually have on it. When that does happen, some people are always going to get lost in the shuffle, and we've touched on that already, but now we're focusing on entirely as a down. WWE clearly wants to sign everybody these days, and while I'm sure some will head to Raw and SmackDown, the majority are going to go down to NXT, and when that does happen, your favourite indie wrestler, or someone you may have got behind before they signed, they can, much like Andrade Cien Almas on SmackDown, just magically disappear. Take Donovan Dijak. He was an indie standout for longer than most of us can remember, and ever since he arrived in the developmental system in the WWE, we don't know where he is. Now, there have been some vignettes recently, which means hopefully 2019 will be a better year for him. Again, if you like the guy, where were you meant to see him? There's other names already there too, and also we've got to include the rumours. So if ACH, Trevor Lee, and Jonah Rock all of a sudden join that list in January, how on earth do you start sorting this problem out? Then there's Kushida, Rachel Evers, and a countless amount of other people already on their radar, and I think one day NXT may actually just melt down because it can't physically fit this amount of people in the building. Who bets that the NXT TV show expands to 2 hours before long? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. I raise both my hands. Makes it look a bit weird. I'll give you a second to, I'll ramble. Raise your hand if you think NXT's going to 2 hours. Now you look weird. You're in front of a YouTube screen raising your hand. What are you doing? It's golden up time now though, and who else could possibly get it except for the man who has redefined what it means to be a heel in the modern age. Tommaso Ciampa, be proud, my friend. You just got the damn golden up. Both one of the best wrestlers in the entire company and probably its best heel, he is a complex villain that has so much depth, people on the main roster can only dream about it. And if they did start dreaming about it, Vince McMahon would enter their dreams and stomp it all out. He's like a weird new version of Freddy Krueger. In short though, Ciampa as the champion has been incredible. Not only did he have a flawless year when it came to the matches he was in, but he also had a major injury and he made that work. He made that add to his character. Think of that. He used his time off to refine his entire approach and also learned how to become the master of crowd control. They eat up his every word and they boo the hoo-ha out of him whenever he wants them to. You can also completely believe every word that he says, and you know he must be doing something right, because you can go to every single corner of the internet and no one has a bad word to say about Tommaso Ciampa. It's rare to hear anything overly negative, and that has just improved as the months have gone on. I know casual wrestling fans that now ask me about Ciampa because they keep seeing on the grapevine, that guy is damn good. He also brought even more prestige to the NXT title, and because of all of this, he is the MVP for the entire promotion, and I won't hear it any other way. Once again, Ciampa, all the congratulations to you, because some bald guy you don't know is singing your praises. But look, we are both hairless. That's pretty good. You've got a better beard than me. Let's throw another up in the tank too for British Strong Style. And yeah, I know I'm biased, but yeah, I'm biased and I'm talking right now. Up. But given that they aren't on every single episode of NXT, WWE has done a great job turning them into stars so that when they do turn up, you want to see them. And when you're here, they'll be on NXT UK. You go watch that as well. That is the definition of killing two birds with one stone. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate and Trent Seven have gone and made themselves feel special. And because of that, at the end of the year, they're now 100% draws. Then there were some of the matches they've had, and we've already talked about Moustache Mountain versus the Undisputed Era, and Pete Dunne is a star regardless where he goes. He's flying the UK flag around the world and proving that we know what we're doing when it comes to the sport of kings. It looks set to continue throughout 2019 too, and that's really exciting, because who knows where this may end up, and I bet you Pete Dunne makes it to Raw or SmackDown. Prediction. A mini up too, so we can shout out the Velveteen Dream and Shayna Baszler. Both of them have had absolutely killer years and proven any doubters that said doubters were absolutely wrong and they should have shut their mouths. This is also cool because they're at the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to age. So many people are like, well, Velveteen Dream, he's going to have a few more years in the tank because he's only 23. Well, he seems to be doing all right. And with Shayna Baszler, there were individuals saying, well, she's late 30s. You can't get into wrestling when you're late 30s. Well, Shayna Baszler can, and then some. Following that trend too, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and Bobby Fish, they get their own up too because, let's be honest, the Undisputed Era has absolutely smashed it in 2018. Said it once, I'll say it twice, getting up. One of the best stables for years and able to make it in any promotion, and that includes Raw and SmackDown if the booking was right, is how they respond to the crowd, which is my favourite part. They're basically four dudes who think they're cooler than they actually are, but then they get in the ring and prove they're also amazing athletes. They get the desired reaction wherever they go, and that really is a lost art and a lost skill in pro wrestling. And when you have it and you know how to flaunt it, you create your own pathway to the stars. They also don't overshadow each other at all. You can look at the NWO and say maybe Hulk Hogan was too big of a figure, and that could also be true of DX when they first formed, with Shawn Michaels feeling like he was number one, and everybody else feeling like they were number 2, 3, and 4. That is in no way the same here because they come together to be greater than the sum of their parts, which is equally impressive because as singles competitors, they'd also be able to smash it. A joy all year long, and if one of them doesn't become either WWE Champion or Universal Champion in the next couple of years, I'm gonna find a tree and kick it really hard. That's just how I like to protest. And one last up for the consistency of the takeovers in 2018 and the fact that you can take any other promotion in the world, hold it up to NXT, and this one holds its own. It's pretty darn good up. Most fans stay loyal to the product because it always reaches their expectations, and when we do get one of their pay-per-view iterations, usually the reaction is simple. People go on the internet and they shout, "Beat that WWE!" Everybody cries, but also realizes that, yeah, that's going to be tough to beat. In short then, despite being seen as the third brand, NXT for many people is also the best of the trio. That makes absolutely no sense, but it's also why 2018 has been a fantabulous year for NXT. Hence why it got all those up. A few downs in there too, but mostly ups, as ever. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about NXT in 2018. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, then head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. And you've got some downtime, it's the end of the year. Go watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and given as we're getting to that period, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy holidays, happy New Year. See you soon.
Violent energy. Got from a casting. Shooting forward into the knees of Jacob. Clear with the elbow drop. The kamikaze catch it. Wonder what a counter. And then they start once again. Defiant Wrestling is loaded.